Any diver that scores around 230 points and above is pretty sure to make the final here today. That's an average of 46 points per dive. If you cruise around that score per dive, the diver should be happy with that and almost certain of making it to the next round. Here we are with the first diver up on the board, Caroline Kupka from Norway. An inboard 1.5 somersault pike. 19 out of 20 divers in this first round are performing a standing dive, either the inboard 1.5 or the back 1.5 pike. Very good job by Caroline, by the way, right now. We just saw a great lineup, perfect clean entry, very strong off the board. Good dive for her. I was saying all standing dives except for Lidze from the Netherlands, who is doing a front 2.5 somersault pike. It is 49.20 points for Caroline Kupka to start her competition. It is a way for divers that the divers that start with a standing dive is a easier way to get into the competition, to kind of break the ice and start without having to struggle with the hurdle or doing harder dives. So easy 1.5s for all the divers in this first round, except for the Dutch diver, Lidze. Back 1.5 somersault for Elna Widerstorm. 2.3 degree of difficulty for her. Good job, but slightly too far back from the board. When she pushes with her legs, her upper body is leaning too far back. That creates too much room between the entry and the tip of the board. Lines up correctly. Not a bad dive overall. 6s from the judges. 41.40 for her. Third diver up on the board is Lotte Hubert from Germany. We now are going to see 5 divers in a row performing the inward 1.5 somersault pike, 2.4 degree of difficulty. Same as Caroline Kupka on the first dive of the competition. Not bad. Probably not as good as the Norwegian diver. Not bad overall. Not as high, but very fast in the somersault and correctly lined up. It was clean entry. And yeah, 48 points even for the German diver. Just 1 point behind Caroline Kupka. Aleksandra Blazowska now from Poland. Same dive. Oh, another very clean entry in the water. That is what divers are mainly aiming for.
6.5.
So good, good score. Probably not as high as the other divers, but extremely clean in the water. She should have gotten a better push off the board, better jump. So 6.5s for the Polish diver at 46.80 right now. Claire Cryan now on the board. Same dive, inward 1.5 somersault pike. And another good job by the diver. easy dive, as we said before. You don't have to deal with the hurdle on this standing inward inward 1.5. It again, same as Elna Witherstorm that did the back 1.5 dive. Also, Claire doesn't do a great job staying close to the board, a little bit too far back, but overall it's above average for her. 46.80, same as Aleksandra Blazowska from Poland. They're all cruising around that score right now. Mariami Shanidze from Georgia. Let's see how she does. Good top and slightly short. Very good top, but she was fast enough in the air. Didn't perform an excellent pike position. Doesn't squeeze that pike position quite enough to get completely vertical, so the score is a little bit lower than the others. 42 points for the Georgian diver. Fifth inward 1.5 somersault pike in a row now. Tilly Brown from Great Britain. And another good job. Good job. The British diver manages to get vertical and clean enough to get 7s from the judges. It is the best dive we've seen so far, at least for the judges. What the judges think. 7s for her, 40 points for the British diver. Now another back 1.5 somersault pike, the second one of the competition we see, is Amy Rollinson, the diver that we will see perform the reverse 2.5 somersault tuck later on during the competition. And not the cleanest entry. She definitely wanted to do a better job with that. Splashes a little bit too much. 41.40 points for her on this dive, slightly below average. Didn't manage to reach back enough with the hands to get them flat on the water and get a cleaner entry. Let's move on to Sude Koprulu from Turkey. Inward 1.5 somersault pike for her. Interesting thing about the Turkish diver, she performs this dive without grabbing her arms below her knees, behind the legs. We see it here on the slow motion, how she keeps her hands wide open. It's an open pike position, 6, 6, and 6.5. That makes the rotation, the somersaulting part of the dive slower. Probably she prefers to do that to line it up better, I guess. It's not common to see that. We will see all the other divers perform it in a closed pike position, as we say in diving. Same dive by Jana Rother from Germany. And again, a good above average dive also for the German. All the divers are getting a good score around average, between 43 and 49 points, with 50. With Tilly Brown got 50 points, so they're all within 6-7 points. So the first round of dives so far hasn't showed many mistakes, neither anything amazing. All around average. And now we have on the board Emilia Nilsson Garip, the one diver that is for sure aiming for gold here. She was second last year. Didn't start well with her first dive, back 1.5 somersault pike. She can do much better. Didn't get completely straight in the entry and slightly over. We saw her feet splashing too much. 6s from the judges, 40.25. She is below average. She needs to do much better later on in these prelims. And also tonight in the final. She was, as I said, second, scoring 274 points last year in her final. Barely didn't make didn't get gold last year, Emilia. Now we have Matilde Borello from Italy. Oh, strong top. Very good top part of a dive. Not the fastest somersaulting diver here today, but very, very sharp in the air and strong off the board. Slightly short. She could have done a better job squeezing the pike position and getting a faster rotation, but she sits in second place as Caroline Kupka at 49.20 right now. Home diver Tara Vesic, the Serbian diver from Belgrade, is also doing an inward 1.5 somersault pike. An okay job with that dive. Not as strong as Matilde before her, and very, very low dive. She needed more room to get vertical. 4.5s from the judges, and the Serbian sits in 12th place at 33.60 points. Lorena Laselka, the Finnish diver from Helsinki, she lives, studies, and practices and dives in LA, Los Angeles, USA, at UCLA University. Very good job, back 1.5 somersault pike, very clean in the water. Should have jumped higher, probably. It's a little bit low and far away from the board, but 6, right on average, 43.70 points, around there with all the others. Good way to start the competition. Lidze van Leeuwen from the Netherlands. The only hurdle we see in this in the first round of dives. Good job by the Dutch diver. She doesn't struggle at all with the hurdle. We see it here. Perfectly straight and on the tip of the board at the end of that hurdle, and she's in first place right now. 50.70, 6.5s. Due to the degree of difficulty that is a bit higher, is a 2.6 degree of difficulty for the Dutch diver. She sits in first right now. Elle Tuxen, the second Norwegian diver in this competition, inward 1.5 somersault pike for her. Nice job. Another diver that should be around the 48 points with this dive. We noticed from this slow motion how she jumps to the left. Probably judges noticed it and dropped the score a little bit. 1.6 to 6.5s that count, and Elle is at 45.60. Katarina Ilic, second Serbian diver, back 1.5 somersault pike. And this is way too short. She does not jump at all up in the air. She just pulls back with her upper body. We saw it here. Barely grabs behind her knees. Doesn't get any rotation and ends up way too short. 3s from the judges. Just 20.70 points for the young Serbian diver. Same dive by Odessa Kuk. 18th diver in this prelim. We can compare this diver with the previous diver Katarina and the next diver Elettra, because they're all doing this back 1.5 somersault pike. Much better job by the Finnish. Stronger and faster in the air, and I gotta say very clean in the water. 6.5s from the judges. Nice entry. 44.85 for her. And now Elettra Neroni from Rome, Italy. Elettra this season moved back to Italy. She used to study and dive in Florida at University of Florida. Decided to move back home after just a year in the university and does a good job with her back 1.5 somersault pike. Correct lineup. Again, another diver that doesn't take any risk in the first dive to break the ice. 6.5, 43.70. They're all around there. All the divers didn't do anything great, or just a couple of mistakes we've seen by the two Serbian divers. All the rest of the divers are above 40 points, within 10 points, one from the other. Last diver, Teresa Jelinkova, in 1.5 somersault pike. Very good top. Oh, she didn't get a perfect entry. She pike saved. That's how we call it. When to get a clean entry, I'm gonna explain it now. We saw it how she moved her hips back in a pike position slightly before entering the water. That's the movement divers do below the surface of the water to get a clean entry. So divers on front and back entries